Create and consume less. This is a very good topic to talk about because a lot of people these days are just not creating. They're just consuming. Now, if we date back many years ago to how many people and humans there were creating and inventing things compared to what we've got this day and age, there is a massive difference. And if you think about it, like back in the day, we had people that created like technology, light bulbs, cars there, because that is a very important one, cars, and, you know, aircraft and stuff like that. That's stuff that, you know, doesn't come from just consuming videos. That came from reading books, using imagination, being very smart. Because when you consume content on a regular basis that's not, you know, important, your brain is going to get dumber and dumber because you're just taking useless information, or brain rot as they call it. But not only that, but screens themselves are a distraction to your brain because your brain doesn't know what a screen is. Because if you think about back in the days, there was no screens. We only had access to books. So the best thing to do to improve your knowledge is to read books. Books have all the information in them that you need to learn. That's what they're there for. Obviously, storybooks are different because they're more of the fact that you're working your brain and imagination. So if you want to fix your imagination, don't watch content, read books. But also, if you want to learn stuff, don't watch content, read books. Now, I can say that with everything. But my videos are important in the fact that I am giving information, so your brain will take that information in and it won't be classed as brain rot or a wasteful time. I'm trying to wake people up here with the different sorts of topics that I talk about, whether it be obviously chasing your dreams, you know, talking about how phones are bad in real life, and, you know, time not running out as the previous videos that I've spoken about. And obviously the last one was don't lose your friends, because having friends is very important. But using our brains to create things such as YouTube videos or even physical objects is very important because it trains our brains to work more. So when you're watching content, you're just coasting, as I like to put it. So when you're coasting through content, you look at the time and it's already been 2 hours. Like how, and you think, well, where's that time gone? Because I didn't feel like I was on social media for that long. And that's what I used to do. I used to scroll through TikTok and Instagram on a regular basis, and I could tell it was putting a toll on my brain and also wasting time. Because I would be like on it for like 3 hours and I'd be like, damn, that was 3 hours. And that's 3 hours gone from my life. And if you do that on a daily basis, that all adds up to a lot of hours. Now, if you think about that over a week, if you're consuming TikTok and Instagram reels, you're just gonna, you know, if you do it for 3 hours a day, that's still like 21 hours in a week, which is, that is a lot of hours, which you could have been put towards something important, whether that be learning for something like a career, or maybe starting a business, or all these different things that could potentially set you up in the future. But instead, you're watching something that's basically gonna waste your life away. And we only have one life in this earth, so it's better to use it wisely and not watch TikTok or Instagram reels on a regular basis. Now, I'm not saying don't watch it entirely, because some things can be nice to treat yourself, but don't watch it for longer than maybe like 15 minutes at a time. So do a 15 minutes and then maybe watch it for twice in a day. So 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. Now, don't do this before bed and after waking up, because that is a very bad thing to do. Because when you wake up, your brain goes through a cycle and it releases cortisol and other chemicals that your body needs. So for men, it releases a bunch of testosterone, which is basically the men's hormone. And obviously it does release slightly for women as well, but not as much. But for the men, it releases a huge amount of testosterone, which is why in the morning you get the thing that I'm not going to say, and also you feel more happy or more motivated in the morning because you've got that spike of testosterone. Whereas in the evening, you don't have that because your testosterone spikes in the morning and dips down throughout the day. Now, the reason why you don't want to watch TikTok and Instagram in the morning after waking up is because you will basically stress your body out without even noticing. It's very interesting. So when you wake up, your body releases cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and if you go onto Instagram and TikTok and you consume content straight away, you're going to unconsciously stress your brain out even more. Now, you may not even notice it. It's actually scary. Like, your body will release more cortisol because that's what happens when you use screens. But also, if you use it before you go to bed, you're not going to sleep as much because obviously you're on screens, and your brain needs that break before you sleep to calm down and release the natural hormones and chemicals that it needs to fall asleep and sleep properly. So that is why it's a good idea to not consume within those times, but I would recommend maybe consuming sort of like late morning, or at least 2 hours after waking up and 2 hours before going to bed. Now, going back to creating, it's very good for imagination, as I said, but also like, it's just, it's something to do. Like, if you create content, or if you create something, like whether it be like, arts, like painting or something like that, it's something to do, and it, it makes you happy. So like painting, like my granddad used to do, he painted a lot and he found that very fun. He also liked to create music, so he had a guitar and keyboard, and he found that fun to do. So he's using his imagination and his brain to learn something new, whether it be an instrument or learn how to paint, which quite frankly is very, very important for your brain, because if you learn something, your brain expands, and it also improves your IQ to an extent. Now, the earlier in life that you do this is the better, because the way that your brain works is that the older you get, the harder it is to learn things. And if you start learning stuff from a young age to maybe like 25, it's the best sort of peak time for you to learn something new and for it to be easy to learn. Because once you go over 25, it gets harder and harder as the years go by for your brain to process that information the same way. So before you're 25 is probably the quickest way, because your brain can process it quicker than if your brain was over 25. That only applies to learning something new. I'm not sure if it applies to taking other information in, but yeah, when you're learning something new, whether it be an instrument or some hobby, it takes you longer to learn after age 25. Now, this is a rough area of age. It's not exactly at 25, but yeah, make sure to try and learn something new is basically what I'm saying. And consume less. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a very short one again, I know, I'm sorry. It's very hard to talk about topics that are, straight to the point. But yeah, it's very important to create and not consume. So anyway, please don't forget to hit that like button, and of course subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.